were shot in the apparently domestic violence follow up. Now, two police officers were following up on a call that they received for a follow up again for domestic violence at 145-86 179th Street here in Queens. Now, the two officers are in stable condition. We're going to be playing some video that we had pre-recorded earlier to show you what the scene looked like. Also, one of our affiliate partners, Martin Calendar, that photography guy, he actually shot a lot of video you're going to see now at Jamaica Hospital. Now, the officers are in stable condition, and we're here in the Springfield Gardens in Queens. Now, you can see behind me, the police are still investigating. This is going to be probably an all-night investigation as crime scene is here, and they're going to be running some forensic science. You can see the video there that we've been playing. Again, we pre-recorded earlier today. That video is probably one of the biggest scenes I've ever seen at a hospital. Over 100 officers were there to show support for their fellow officers. As you can see, Commissioner Shea, Police Commissioner Shea, he comes out the vehicle there. He wants to visit with his officers at that time. We also have, I believe, Mr. Pat Lynch, who is the Police Officer Union, the PBA. He also arrived at Jamaica Hospital. As you can see, hundreds of officers. It was quite a scene earlier today at the Jamaica Center Hospital. Again, these two officers are in stable condition at this time. They were conducting what they call a wellness check in regards to a domestic violence incident. And upon arrival, suspects started shooting at police officers, and then the officers returned the fire at the suspect. Now, the suspect is considered deceased at this time. Both officers, like I said, are in stable condition. So, like I said earlier, so both officers, again, they are domestic violence officers. They do follow-ups. As soon as a domestic violence case is open, what they do is go to your home and they follow up on the situation to see if it's an ongoing thing. So when they got there, the suspect opened fire. Luckily, the cops, like I said, are in stable condition. Police Officer Wells, Christopher Wells, from the 105 precinct. He is stable in Jamaica Hospital. And Officer Joseph Murphy, also from the 105th precinct. He's also stable in Jamaica Hospital. The suspect is deceased at this time, and investigation remains ongoing. It's quite a scene here. Like I said, the parade of officers just coming into the hospital down the highways. As I was getting here, there was just cop cars with lights and sirens, and the traffic was insane. Uh, as you know, police officers are the blood. But I'm sorry to tell you, the blood bank was also initiated. That's when an officer is shot. They get a blood bank going to help the medical part of the situation. So the footage you're seeing right now, that is recorded earlier by Martin Calendar, that photography guy. He raced over to the hospital, and that's the scene that you see. Uh, very um, disheartening situation at this time. Uh, like I said, they're going to be here all night, and anybody. Oh, I'm getting word that okay, so they are going to block this area off. We only got a few more minutes here. We're going to continue this live coverage until we are technically kicked out. Officers are going in and out all throughout the crime scene. We actually got closer here. We were a little farther away, but now we're a little closer. Okay, and again, this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can get you guys a little closer look. In just a moment, we're going to show you some exclusive footage that we had gotten earlier from an anonymous person. It's a cell phone footage. You can see many detectives are still going in and out of this crime scene. We're going to go ahead and roll that extra footage while we stand right here. Go ahead and as you can see there, dramatic footage that was exclusively given to us by a neighbor who wanted to remain anonymous. The cop obviously shot in the arm at that time. The other one was shot. Stand by. That is a dramatic footage, like I said, we have obtained from an anonymous person who wanted to remain anonymous. And like I said, this is the scene here. So thank you, Javier Quiles, Alexandria Scott. We're in Queens, in the Springfield Gardens part of Queens. And as you can see by the title, two officers were shot. They are in stable condition at this time at Jamaica Medical Center. Again, Alexander Scott, the title says it is the Alexandra Scott. It is the two officers, two NYPD officers were shot. One was shot in the arm and one was shot in the leg. They are stable at Jamaica Medical Center right at this time. They do have a suspect who is deceased. Police officers shot back at the suspect as police officer going into the home to do a wellness check for a domestic violence case. The suspect opened fire on the officers, and the officers returned the fire. So that is the scene, how we have it right now. The suspect is unknown at this time, pending family notification. We do not have a name for the suspect. Yep, this is Queens, Springfield Gardens, Queens, the 105th precinct. Also, the officers that were involved in the shooting, they're domestic violence officers doing a wellness check. It's been a crazy scene all day, as you can see. Uh, a lot of media, a lot of police officers just going in and out, and it's quite a scene. I think we just got information. The suspect is Rondell Gobley. He's a 41-year old, and it happened at his house. Uh, Again, the officers go and do a wellness check, and he's at home. They open fire. He opens fires on the police officers, and the police officers return fire. As you can see with footage that we had recorded earlier today, while the scene was going on. Martin Calendar, that photography guy, he shot this footage there. As you can see, it was quite a scene at Jamaica Hospital. A lot of police officers, over 100 police officers, over 100 cars. I don't know how they fit in that one section, but they did. And it was quite a scene. The traffic on the Van Wyck was and the Grand Central was backed up. That's footage from earlier today. So basically, we're going to continue this coverage. You can log into our website at www.freedomnews.tv and get the latest update on this story and other stories from before. You can also look us up on Twitter and on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel on there, FNTV, Freedom News TV. And also, if you don't have the HAPS app, download the HAPS app. We'll get notifications like this every time I go live on different incidents like this. And again, pre-recorded footage from earlier today. And basically, we're going to take you to the press conference that happened also. That was also shot by our journalist, Martin Calendar. So we're going to go ahead and roll that press conference for you now.
This afternoon's events in the 105 precinct serve as a stark reminder to the dangers that New York City police officers are facing on the streets every day. I'm joined here by a number of people, notably Mayor de Blasio to my left, Dr. Eli Kleinman, who's here somewhere, our chief surgeon, First Deputy Commissioner Ben Tucker, Chief of Department Terrence Monahan, Chief of Patrol Juanita Holmes, Pat Lynch, President of the PBA, and Dr. William Nugent of the Jamaica Medical Center. First, before I turn it to the mayor and then I'll go into remarks, as always, I want to thank the doctors, the nurses, and the incredible staff here at Jamaica Medical Center for their incredible work with our two officers. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. I want to say that also, Jamaica Hospital Medical Center has really taken care of our officers today and really been great to their families as well. I want to thank them. I want to thank everyone who was here to support our officers. Special thank you to the Borough President-elect of Queens, Donovan Richards. Commissioner and I spent some time with some of the family members, and thank God, the most important thing to say up front is thank God our two officers are in stable condition. Thank God they will pull through. They have serious injuries, but ultimately they're going to be okay. And there was such a feeling of relief among the families to know that. But let's talk about what happened here today. Here you have officers who do the Lord's work. They protect survivors of domestic violence. They go into some of the most volatile, difficult situations that you could possibly imagine, some of the most difficult work that any police officers do. They do it to protect innocent people who have been victims of abuse. And here we have a situation where a woman is in danger and these officers went to protect her, only to find themselves in harm's way immediately. Thank God they're going to pull through. But I want to emphasize, when it comes to protecting these innocent people, we depend on our officers. We need to be thankful for the work they do. Domestic violence in particular is so difficult, so unpredictable. And yet we have officers who step forward and say, I'll take on that job because I want to save lives. And today they saved that woman's life. I want to be crystal clear. Because those officers were there, that woman is alive. And I say God bless them. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what we have again is preliminary at this point in time. I want to mention to everyone that we have a 41-year-old woman who walks into the 105 Precinct Station House sometime this morning to report a domestic violence incident that took place last night. At approximately 12:40 p.m. this afternoon, she reports back to her residence with two domestic violence officers. The location is 145 86th, 179th Street here in the 105 Precinct. At the time that they entered the house, the suspect was not at the residence. We believe that the officers and the victim in this case were there approximately 6 minutes. At that point in time, the subject returned to the residence, walks in the door of the residence, and begins shooting at the two officers. That occurred at 12:46 p.m. After immediately opening fire and shots exchanged, both officers are struck and injured. One in the right upper thigh. He has a fractured femur and is undergoing surgery. The other officer was shot at least one time, and we believe at this point in both hands. Both officers, who have nearly 14 years with the police department and nearly 6 years with the police department, respectively, are awake and in stable condition here at Jamaica Medical Center. Again, both require surgery for their very serious injuries, and we're hopeful for a full recovery. The suspect in this case, identified as 41-year-old Daniel Valls, was also shot. It is undetermined how many times at this point in time, and was pronounced deceased at the scene. Multiple guns were recovered at the scene belonging to Mr. Valls. The female victim in the case was not injured as a result of the incident. Before we open up for very brief questions, Pat, you have any words?
You know, this is a perfect example of, once again, we're saying here we're fortunate, we're lucky, we're glad when we got here to the hospital, but let's not forget that we're here at this hospital. And those that disrespect police officers, those that want to say, well, let's defund them, let's take them out of every different type of job. Here's an example. It's an example of a domestic dispute. It's an example when the police officers walk in, they get shot at. What would happen if the police officers weren't there? What would happen if we didn't have enough of them to cover all the radio runs? What would happen if a social worker was there and the police officer wasn't? So sometimes in a college classroom, sometimes in a council room, sometimes on a Zoom conference talking about policing, it seems awful easy to say, here's the script and here's what we'll do. What we see here today and police officers that surround us see all the time, there is no script. We can't be removed. We need to be there. And remember, they called us to go there. And because these two police officers put themselves at risk, professionally went to that call, there's no one else dead. The complainant's not dead. The police officers are injured. And fortunately, the person that tried to take us in a situation where you'd think it would be okay, shot at us. And fortunately, unfortunately, we have to live with it. But fortunately, he'll hurt no more.
So, Terry, I think you have pictures of the two firearms that were recovered. And with that, we'll take questions.
What can you tell us about this person's status to carry a firearm, and what can you tell us about his job and criminal history?
Yep, he, to our knowledge at this point in time, and again, this is very preliminary, based on the information we believe him to be who he is, no criminal history, and a licensed firearm handler, and currently working as a peace officer.
For CUNY?
Correct.
Does
Anyone?
not have an arrest record there?
Not to our knowledge, but it is preliminary. Rocco?
4 previous calls to that house for domestic violence incidents. What came of those, and how was he able to keep these guns?
Yeah, my understanding here, Rocco, is that you're correct. There were prior calls to that house. That'll be part of the investigation going forward, why he was still in possession of those guns and what happened to those prior cases.
Commissioner, was he called prior to
I don't think I gave a number. If I did, I know that there were prior domestic calls. How many will have to be part of the investigation.
Commissioner, was he known to have any sort of mental health problems beyond the obvious?
That's all part of the investigation. That has come up, but it's extremely preliminary, and we'll have to vet that out.
Is there any indication he was waiting outside the house for police to enter until he came in?
That I do not have. What we know is the officers arrived there at about 12:40 with the victim of the domestic violence. They enter the residence, and after about 6 minutes, he comes into the residence and starts shooting. Whether he was laying in wait or just happened to arrive at that time will be part of the investigation.
So there was no conversation, nothing.
Almost instantly, he walks in the front door and starts shooting at our two officers.
How many weapons did he have on his person?
We recovered 2 weapons at the scene. This will be the last one. We recovered a 3rd weapon that he owns, not at the scene. Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving.
Wow. So sorry about that. I'm gonna have to repeat everything that I just said. So there you have it, folks. That press conference was done earlier today at Jamaica Medical Center, filmed by Martin Callender, that photography guy, one of our affiliate for FNTV, and quite a scene over there. And Pat Lynch, the president of the Police Officers Union, is emphasizing that police were called there. They were told to come there to help out in a domestic violence situation. Also, Mayor de Blasio, he says the same thing. Police were called there. People sought help from the police department to go out, and the rhetoric that has been going around about defunding the police department and stuff like that. So, it's a very a tragic situation. We both officers, like I said, are in stable condition, and like the mayor said, no injuries were to the complaining victim for the domestic violence complaint. Uh, Basically, I'm Dan Valls reporting from Springfield Gardens, Queens, FNTV.